keep that jamming. Keep that jamming, boy. That new beat, baby. Shout out to GoldenEye Creations for the beat. Boy, keep that jamming, man.
Let the beat ride.
I know, that's fire. That's fire right there. I tried to keep it to 30 seconds. I might have to let that ride for a minute.
Yeah, for real.
Hey, that is a dope beat. Shout out to GoldenEye Productions for that. We appreciate that. Yeah. All right. Welcome to the Fourcast with the four of us, obviously the Fourcast. Myself, BS3, Wilks, HRap, Dawk. We'll be talking about part 2 of Exterminate All The Brutes. Who the F is Columbus? If you haven't watched this yet, first of all, what are you doing? Okay, well, what are you doing with your life? You need to take a Sunday. I'm serious. You need to take a Sunday, a Saturday. You may not want to watch it on a weekday because you're going into work the next day, maybe a little angry.
Might throw some balls at the copy machine.
Real shout out to Labrador Matador. He said, "I'm back. What's up, fellas? Thank you for coming through, man. We appreciate the support and the love."
Oh yeah.
So part 2, which got even deeper into this conversation of exterminating all the brutes. It's a documentary, HBO Max, by Raoul Peck. He is of Haitian descent, and it kind of talked a little bit more about his background. But first off, this episode 2 or part 2, what was you guys' initial thoughts? For me, I'll say it kind of meshed some things together. And also it went from like during the time when this was, and then like fast forwarded, and it kind of brought things together. But I thought it was even more deeper. Like this rabbit hole is so deep that this second episode just went further into it, and it got to really talk about the natives more, and it talked about Raoul Peck more. So I enjoyed it just like the first. But Wilks, we'll go to you.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It really did get it got more into like the trades and how pretty much not just the Europeans by themselves. I mean, the Argentinians and the French, how they were just taking people and moving them around the country, or moving them around the globe, pretty much. Mostly Central Americas and the Caribbean. And then it even touched on, which I believe, not the third one, but the second one even touched on how the Irish got involved to a point of, coming over and just kind of establishing a hate for somebody that, if you weren't Irish, it was kind of like, wait a minute, you just got kicked out of your own little territory too. So now you trying to act like you running something. So I'm like, it was all kind of crazy, but it's getting pretty deep. It's meshing a lot of things together. Later on, like you mentioned, it did go more into the tribes, the indigenous people, and I think the third kind of really goes into that also. But then that gets into the arms deal, so we won't go too far. But I just thought I'd put that out there.
Yeah. It touched on so many points, man. It is just crazy to see how far we've come, if you will, but how we still are where we've come from. Like we it's still, a lot of it hasn't changed. It's just done in different forms. I think that's a big part.
I just want to say something real quick. And it also blows my mind too, how like heavy with Afro-latinism, how they just literally even them, it's almost like they've been taught to denounce that side of their heritage so much. I mean, you pretty much saw the map where they were flooded with Africans. I mean around the 1500s. But I just thought I'd mention that. I let HRap. Sorry about that. I let him take it.
Oh no problem, man. Talk as much as you like, man. I love, as usual, man. Y'all know I love these documentaries, man. It's my lifeblood. And you know what? I'm gonna give a preview. That was kind of a preview of what's going on with the Asian community right now. You saw how the English took over Ireland, and look at the familiar terms. You guys derived from apes. We're better than you.
Right.
Sounds familiar. And now all of a sudden they're trying to make peace with the Asians and inculcate them into whiteness. Because we know we're humans.
Right.
We're humans. So white and black, those are not things. Nobody became white or black until they crossed the Atlantic. You were Nigerian. You were from Sierra Leone. You were from Germany. You were French. But then when you got over here, you were white. But let's not forget, 100 years ago today, you could walk up to a restaurant, no Ns, no Irish, no Jews, no dogs was a sign.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Facts.
Crazy.
Facts. All right, Dawk.
Well, to sum up this episode for me was a quote from the episode, and I kind of added a little bit to it, but it says, knowledge is power, but history is the fruit of power.
Yeah.
And it went on to say, whoever wins in the end gets to frame their story. So that's what this is. This is just a breaking down of how they frame their story. We can really stop. You can really stop. That's what it is. But knowledge is power. We done all heard that. But the fruit of that power is history. Yeah. And that's strong to me.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially the parts where, they go into the Alamo and, being from Texas, we had Texas history, and I'm just looking at this and I'm like, forget what they told you, forget what you read.
Forget what you heard.
Yeah, because this is not what this is. It's just one of those things where like they want to push this. Oh, they came and they invaded us, so they came and they're taking from us. No, you're taking from them. I was like, what are you talking about? But it's like they don't want to go into that. But then once again, it's backed up by movies. John Wayne wants to write his version of the Alamo and how it really went down, and it's like, man, that's not even close. Like, just take a spoonful of that and you good. Like we're just supposed to forget that part.
Medicine.
Right.
And I just need to warn everybody tonight. Wilks got that glass with them ice cubes in it, so he gonna be on something different tonight. So just be ready for it.
Yeah, just be ready for what you're about to get.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick, I wanted to give a couple shout outs to some people that tuned in after the show last week. We got quite a few comments, and I wanted to make sure to shout these guys out because normally you see the live people, but the people that listen afterwards, we're definitely excited about last episode. Augustus Brown, thank you for commenting and tuning in. Also, Chanel N6, he made a few comments. He said, excellent docuseries. It was brilliantly honest and on point. Yeah, it was. There was no, and that's what I appreciated about this. There was no punches. There was no, let's try to paint this in a pretty light. No, it's ugly. It's been ugly, and it will continue to be ugly as every single day we see Black people getting shot in the street. Somebody got killed today, somebody yesterday. I mean, it's like this endless, cycle. So let's go ahead and get right into it. I watched this twice. I watched the first time, I took some notes, and then I watched it the second time, and I got more notes than what I had before. And plus, I was kind of filling in the blanks because there was so much information. It's kind of hard to just say, "Oh, I got it off the first, break." So, who the F is Columbus? That was in the intro. Is they're coming in on a ship? They're coming in. They look like they've been. Hold on, Labrador Matador, real quick. You said, "Is there a better format to watch you guys than on Twitter?" Yes, YouTube. I'm gonna actually give you the link right now. I'm gonna put it in the chat. But I think the opening scene kind of says it all. Where they're coming in and they're coming off the boat, and they're like, "Oh, we discovered this," and you have a row of natives standing there, and they almost look like they don't know what they're looking at. They almost look kind of like perplexed, like this is a people we haven't seen before, and they're like touching their face, and they're like trying to figure out like what are you? It's almost like exactly what they feel, and then they started to get a little too handsy, and then immediately they start to pull out their swords. I kind of draw a parallel. Don't that sound familiar? You're doing your own thing, and you immediately want to pull out a gun,
right?
And so that's what I kind of took to that. And what were they doing? They were defending their land. Like this is ours. You came on a ship. We don't know you. We don't know where you came from. You don't speak our language. So I wanted to start there because I thought that was pretty a pretty monumental scene that we could also relate to now. And HRap, I'll go to you first.
Oh yeah, man. It's what it kind of reminds me of when people like to touch our hair. You hear sisters talking about ooh, and they don't like it. And then, what you mean you touching me? Hey man, you walked in my house.
Right.
What you mean you mad that I'm investigating you? You lucky I don't kill you, first and foremost. Yeah. But it also took me back to 6th grade. That's the first time I read the story of Hiawatha on the shores of Gitche Gumi. They talk about how white people were on the horizon. Hiawatha's story was actually a prophecy. Mm-hmm. And it shows you how the natives met the people who were from overseas. So it's amazing how, again, you show up in my house and then you want to act a fool, but it also opened the door to something else that we never are taught. We weren't taught in elementary, high school, or college. That you guys attacked us.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Y'all attacked us. Y'all got mad. This isn't hey, how you doing? Look at the turkey. No. Mm. And it just continues to expose one of the greatest lies ever told. Mm-hmm. That people just showed up and everybody was happy to see you. No, they were not. You were not friendly. You were not welcoming. You were nothing. And most important, these people are mongrels. Let's not forget. These people come from prisons. These people were insane.
Yes.
And that's how insane in criminals act.
Mm-hmm. Savages.
You savage. Exactly. That's the word. I couldn't think of that. Mm-hmm. They were the savages of Europe. Remember, they emptied their jails and said, okay, Columbus, take them. Mm-hmm. Right. So what we really need to do is get a documentary on Columbus's ship log and see how many people got killed during that.
Wow. Yeah. All right, Dawk, I'll go to you.
Yeah, before I get into it, first of all, I want to remember that comment HRap said, the greatest lie ever told. But before I get to that, I want to give a huge shout out to Daniel Coulier for winning that Oscar, Best Supporting Actor. That's a big deal. It just goes to show that if we review your movie on the Fourcast, you got a better shot at winning. So put that out there. If you don't know Hollywood, you need to get here. So if you're not scared to review your movie, you better ask us and get on the schedule. Yeah. And I said it like that. If you understand schedule, then you the right guy for us. So later, whatever the case may be. But greatest lie ever told is being systematically broken down in this documentary, And what I like about it, is he says, I ain't got no problem. I just want to understand. Mm-hmm. And you want to talk about a passive aggressive way of taking this thing, hey, I ain't got no problem. Right. But help me understand, because he already know the truth now, but we're going to see how you're going to respond to it, so those ship scenes, man, those are rough, those invoke so many memories and visions of stories told and what the truth is. And man, there's so many notes I have on just the ship and the passage and et cetera. It ridiculous.
Yeah. I can only imagine what was the conversation when those bodies were laying on that beach and the ship turns around and all of a sudden they come back in like 10, 20 fold, just to wipe out a few natives and take them. Of course, what's going to happen. I'm going to take what's yours because you're barbaric. And it's like, you're already coming aggressive. You get off your ship kneeling on my land, getting ready to claim it for yourself. You don't even know what it's about. You don't even know what's going on. But so now you're finna come retaliate. They're finna come retaliate. Now you're finna put me in shackles. Now you're finna try to wipe out my culture. Try to figure out, they just savages out here. They wild people. Yeah. They're not dignified like us on ships. So it's crazy. It's just crazy.
Yeah, they're trying to portray that someone else is savages when they need to look in the mirror. You are the savage.
Right.
And like we talked about the previous episode, the natives wanted to help them. Actually, they were helping them. They were like, we're trying to help you. Like, we don't need to fight. Non-violent. They went Martin Luther King before Martin Luther King, and then they basically turned, which is
got the same treatment.
Exactly.
Right.
True. Matthew Simon, which is also Labrador Matador, he came over to YouTube. We appreciate you. Also, we got Tiki. Thank you for coming through, Teresa. Also, Ramal. Thank you for coming through. That's what it's saying. That's it.
But you need to understand that it's the End of the Bench podcast. HRap B putting that comment there.
I know.
I just need you to understand.
For me, so I can say it. You're right. You need to copy the dictionary, so I can get the abbreviations. But anyway, Matthew says, I'd rather be a free man in my grave than living as a puppet or a slave. Jimmy Cliff, that's a great line right there. My man Raider Kev in the building. Great points, great documentary. Thank you for tuning in. You guys are touching on an epiphany I had while driving this week in this series. Who are the brutes? That's a great question. Go ahead.
I was going to say from what they were from what they were trying to spin when they were breaking it down, black people lazy, black people were this and savage. They were trying to almost label it like the black people were the brutes, but in reality, come on, man, we already know what's going on. I mean, you putting tribal men's heads on stakes. I mean, you showing up by droves, making it, you making it look like we're derivative of apes and wild animals. You bring in your sickness, you coughing in the air, coughing in people's faces. I mean, what do you think is going to happen? So yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where, once again, like you said, you get to frame that history, you get to change it, you get to tweak it, you get to change the narrative.
Yeah, and the Europeans, that's the brutes, okay?
Right. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Well, that, again, like Wilks said, they were trying to paint it as, anybody that's darker than, a certain tone, those are the brutes. And if you pay attention to the title, he says exterminate all the brutes. Right. That means every last one of them, anybody we can get that, their skin tone is a little darker. Right. That was the mission, And later on, we're going to get into how that mission was endorsed by organizations such as the Catholic Church, and things of that nature. So, yeah, according to this film, we were the brutes. But the truth is, they were the brutes.
Yeah. Now, that brings me to a perfect point, Dawk, is that they always had a priest. You see, they had the priest that was also on that boat. And, like, their mission... this is in my words, was to basically convert them to Christianity, to basically dumb them down and say, you're supposed to be a slave. You're supposed to be submissive to us. Like that's what the Bible says. Yeah. And so that obviously being a Christian for the majority of my life, that part like really hits me. Like I don't want that kind of Christianity. I'm just gonna be straight up. I don't want that kind that is going to use the Bible to try to convert and try to tell you what to do. And no, it's okay. You're supposed to be slaves. This is natural. This is who God created you to be. The answer to that question is no. Hell no. That's not what I was created.
Right.
HRap, you want to add something?
Oh no, I was just amen and Labrador on that last statement he made. So the Bruce evolved from the Latin reference Brutus, who betrayed Julius Caesar. The Catholic Church was founded in Rome. The white Europeans betrayed their Catholic doctrine. Exactly. Yeah. And it's funny that y'all said that you referenced they kept having a priest there. A priest is another word for teacher, right? Mm-hmm. And that's the purpose of education here in America, to indoctrinate you into some madness. And now you believe what you learn in school because you've been BS'd into believing what you're doing is learning, and what you're actually being is indoctrinated. because just like the homie Labrador just said, if you take the words and go to the etymology of the word, you get a whole nother definition, like we did a couple of weeks ago when we mentioned love thy enemy. It's really thy adversary. You go to the original text, is their adversary. Guess what? That changes the entire complex of that scripture. But if it's just the adversary, that means you don't have to kill him. If you don't have to kill him, that means nobody really gets hurt. It's a defeat versus victory, but it's really just a moral victory because it's like a boxing match. Boxers out there to literally knock each other out, and at the end of it, you get love. It's done.
Respect. Yeah.
But when you say love thy enemy, when you revert that back to love thy enemy, what that means is Dawk could bust my head clean open and then go. You can't hit me back because you love Jesus, right? Right. You got to go. Indoctrination versus education.
Wow, that's strong.
Preach.
Yeah,
Message. Open up your Bibles to HRap B, chapter 5.
What it reminds me of is one of our fellow BS3 radio group podcasters, Al High, in the Disrespect Your Senses podcast, right? And one of his intros, his main intro, he basically talks about Christianity and asks the question, what form of Christianity do you practice? What Christian mentality do you have? Is it a slave mentality following of Christianity, right, or the true Christianity? And there is a difference. One has the intent of bondage and the other one has the intent of freedom. So if you're not careful, see, they look alike. They twins, and one of them the evil twin and one of them the good twin. So you got to be careful where you get your information from, and that's what this was about. So I mean that's strong. Do you got a slave mentality of Christianity or the other one? And like HRap says, you don't understand the etymology of a word or the origin or the true intent of what the word was in the word, right? Then you're going to be sadly mistaken. And that's why the difference between religion and relationship is so important. Right. If you just simply have a religion within Christianity, be that Catholicism, whether that be whatever it is, right? It doesn't matter. Whatever that is. If you have that religion but you don't have a relationship, you'll fall for the okie doke.
Let me put something else on the end of that with the relationship thing, because guess what? With a relationship, you get to know.
That's right.
A religion, you just follow blind.
That's right.
Follow the rules.
Back to the learning the scripture. My brothers, brothers and sisters, you will perish due to lack of knowledge. If you don't study, they gonna kill you with what this in this book. Shout out to Seneca. I got you, Ben. I got you, man. And
my man.
Yeah, just real quick on that. And also too, don't get upset when somebody's in a chat or on a comment and says, "Oh, religion is terrible." Yeah, okay. So maybe it is because man taints everything they touch anyway.
Facts.
Not once did Jesus even say anything about religion.
Mm-hmm.
He talked specifically about relationship.
That's right. That's it.
Get to know me on this level.
Right.
And then I will get to know you and meet you where you are in your place. I didn't say clean up. I didn't say straight up. I'm coming to you.
Come on.
Coach.
So it's one of those things where it's like, don't get upset because they say, "Oh, well, religion is terrible." Okay, yeah, it is terrible because God didn't open his mouth and say anything about religion.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get a tag me in bell, man. So when you ready to tag in, I'm gonna hit this bell, ding, ding, ding. So what's great about that, man, is when you talk about religion versus relationship, man, and you talk about the aspect of What are we in this for, right? Tradition, the word even talks about it. It says your tradition has caused my word to be of none effect, or has it caused my word to be ineffective? Just depending on which version that you're looking at. And again, your tradition is just simply the method with which you go about doing Christianity, right?
Yeah.
The methodology, whether it be, again, Baptist, Methodist, Holiness, Church of God in Christ. It's right. It's all supposed to be based on Christianity. And this is the method we go about. These are the traditions we go about studying and exercising Christianity. But the religion ain't supposed to be the be all end all. The religion is just supposed to be how we do it in our church, right? I prefer musical instruments, so I'm going to go to this church. I prefer, a more calmer setting, so I'm going to go to this church or whatever. But the doctrine, and that word going to come back up in this series, right? The doctrine is just simply different, but it's about relationship.
Right.
Yeah. Your tradition has caused my word. Your religion has caused my word to be ineffective.
Yes.
We're focusing on that.
Right. Because you're trying to put me in a box and I'm not in a box.
Right.
Right. Exactly. Simon, he said, call him Simon. Organized religion is terrible. Faith is amazing. That kind of sums up what we're talking about.
Right.
Nothing has changed more. Nothing has caused more wars and death than organized religion. And now, we having a real honest conversation here. Right now, going into the mission field, I now start to look at that a little bit differently, because it's almost like you're coercing people to agree with what you believe or agree with how you go about doing what you do.
Right.
It's this rabbit hole is deep. This is no doubt. And I am ashamed of my teachers of what they. I feel like I didn't really learn nothing. Like all that was just like smoke. That was just fluff. Let's put some fluff in the air so the kids can see the fluff. You like the fluff, kids? Like that was basically.
Well, yeah, and that's one I don't want to get HRap on, because he'll eat that one up, right? This educational system and the dollars that follow, and it's about those dollars. It's about getting butts in seats. So that was the mission. The mission wasn't to educate, in a real way. It was to get them numbers so we can get them dollars.
Exactly. Now, Wilks, you kind of brought. Ray the Crab, we appreciate the fire emojis. We appreciate that, Ray the Crab.
Go Cowboys, Ray the Crab.
Hey. HRap. We'll lose the tie, silver black till I die.
Just win, baby.
Right, exactly. The Alamo. Wilks, you brought this up. I've been in Texas for 16 years now. Never really fully understood the Alamo story, but the way this was broken down, it was great. It was great to hear and see the full story, because that's another thing. We only gonna give you a part of the story that shows that we won. We're not gonna give you the full part of the story. So, General Santa Anna, the Alamo battle was won by Mexico. And then there was another battle that the U.S. won, and they said, "Oh, we won the Alamo," and that was like the full story of how it all went down.
Right.
But Wilks, go ahead and touch on that. I enjoyed that portion, because then it showed the movie, and it showed all the corniness of it, and it showed the ketchup blood and all that stuff.
Yeah,
and they trying to convince people through movies. Which movies? Before you go, movies tell a lot of history the complete wrong way. Right. And we fall into it. Or we fell into it. I'm not falling into it anymore. But go ahead, Wilson.
Well, just to kind of tie it in, the Alamo was, of course, an old missionary. I mean, we're talking about religion, so that's what the Alamo originally was. It was a mission, a place of worship. So you want to hold this. I guess you felt like, as Sam Houston and Davy Crockett and all them. I guess they and maybe Steve. I don't know if Stephen F. Austin was in that yet, but. So you want to hold this fort, you want to claim, and you want to sow this image of patriotism, because this is where it's going to start. You want to go up and say, well, these brutes, the Mexicans, Santa Anna and his people, let's call it what it is. You want to draw a line in the sand, as they showed in the movie, which was actually something that happened in the books of some of the stories I've read. But you've got these men now suckered into the fact that this is the enemy. But we didn't tell you what happened. We didn't tell you how we forcefully took this piece of land. We're not going to tell you that part. We're going to tell you that it was stolen anyway, and talks fell through. So we're just going to force our way and defend it. Well, Santa Anna, from what I heard from this documentary, which I didn't know this, he's been in more wars than Napoleon and George Washington combined. This man is a strategist. We want to talk about the art of war. I mean, this guy is Sun Tzu. I mean, it's go ahead.
He was taught by God damn it.
Was it Maceo? It wasn't Maceo, was it?
Nah, the dude I told you about last week. John Horse.
Oh, yeah, the guy that was down in
Taught by John Horse.
Right? Yeah, down with that's right. He meant that's right. So it's like one of those things where it's like you got a movie on the backside of that. John Wayne wants to direct this movie and show you that, well, technically we really won. The story was written wrong. So let me do a Hollywood film on, look how brave we're standing against these brutes, the Mexicans. They're just terrible people. You know, and it's like, that's not even how it goes. In the book, most books, and you know, what I've learned through the years too is you cannot stop at classroom books. You've got to find more information outside of the classroom that is parallel. And I don't care if you read 4 books, 5 books, somebody's going to have a different perspective. And you've just got to do the legwork on some of this. But the way that they painted the Alamo was this big, like right now in Texas to this day, the Alamo is one of those things where it's just like, you know, don't tread on me, come take it. You know, it's like, but you stole it. Yeah. Let's just talk about what really happened.
You thieves.
Yeah. So, I mean, but you want to paint the Mexicans as the brutes, as just, they're savages and they're just enemies of the state. And it's like, that's not how that went. And then we have statues of Sam Houston, and we have highways named after this man, and we have schools named after this man. It's like, it's just not how it. That's just not how it goes. That's not how the story went.
Yeah, yeah, but that goes back to that quote that we said earlier. Whoever wins in the end gets to tell the story,
right?
The wrong way, gets to tell a false story.
Well, we'll leave that part out.
And that's like what a savage and what a way of thievery to say, oh, I didn't steal it. I didn't steal it, even though you stole it. You just bald-faced. That's a bald-faced lie. That's what we call that. That's exactly what that is.
Thomas Edison invented the light.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dawk. I don't know if you want to add on.
Yeah,
to that.
well, you know, in visiting it just made me think of my time in visiting the Alamo, right, in San Antonio. San Antonio is one of my favorite annual places to go because it's just right up the street, right down the road, should I say. And they have completely corrupted what Remember the Alamo means and why it was said and et cetera, et cetera. And now they are making dollars hand over fist regarding the lie.
Yes.
Profiting off the lie.
Yeah. Simon, man, that dropping knowledge. He said, you want to talk about karma. John Wayne died from a cancer he got from shooting The Conqueror, where he played Genghis Khan.
See, the deal was funny is Simon put on there, ha ha.
Joke's on you.
Joke's on you, buddy.
He said, ha ha.
And that goes back to whites playing all types of roles that they should not have been playing.
There you go.
That is portraying roles that, number one, you don't know anything about, and number two, you can't clearly play that role because they were darker than you. So that would be a whole other topic too.
Right.
How about this? Y'all remember that movie, The Last Samurai?
What was the name?
The last what?
Tom Cruise played The Last Samurai.
Oh yeah.
Samurai.
Right.
Yeah.
Just a black dude.
Right. Yoskage? Was it Yoskage?
Yeah, that's a black guy.
Yeah, and even there was talks of Harriet Tubman having Julia Roberts.
Julia Roberts.
Ashley lips.
Harriet Tubman.
They got Ashley. Yeah, that was the conversation going around.
You're kidding me, man.
No.
Taylor played Libertarian.
Huh?
Yul Brynner played the damn
Egyptian guy.
Yeah, the ball.
Egyptians.
Ramses.
Ramsey.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
First Ramsey.
Elizabeth Taylor played a bunch of black women.
Right.
Right. The soil was contaminated from the testing of a nuclear bomb prior to dropping it on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in Japan to end World War II. Shout out to Walter Strong. Make sure to subscribe to his channel. He supports BS3 Radio. So make sure to check him out. He goes live every Saturday morning. So was Jesus. Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Right.
Yes. Every single movie.
Well, technically, Jesus is more Pakistani.
Black
enough.
I think what he's trying to say is his skin tone is darker than his portrayed.
Right. Right.
You know, Jesus is from over there.
So
yeah, Simon, we're gonna get you a black Jesus poster and we're gonna send it to the crib for you so you can hang it up.
Right. Send us a DM with your address. We'll have that coming to you shortly.
Ned the wino.
So kind of going throughout the documentary, it comes to a point where it says captives. It talks about captives from Africa to America. And it basically said 10 million within a span of, I don't remember how many years. Was that how many years? Does anybody remember how many years that was?
No, I couldn't remember. It was over hundreds of years.
300 years.
They were talking about decades. They talked about the 17th century, then the 18th century. So it was at least 200 years or so, right?
The Pope did. He said the Pope. I knew that Pope Leopold, not Leopold, Pope 1500s, mid 1500s. The Pope, he signed off on it because they were trying to go around the tip of Africa. They was like, "Hey, what's up?" And then 400 years later, man.
Yeah.
See, my man said it. Matthew.
100 years. Yeah.
Right. It was really so. What jumped it off? So the Muslims was in control of the trade route.
Right.
They were the ones running it.
That was, that's West Africa. I mean, that's East Africa though.
The Indies, right, is where they was. So yeah, they were running it, and of course Christians said, "Hey, we need to get in on this."
Hey,
yeah, that's why they invented the language Swahili so they could communicate.
And I'm gonna propose the next thing we watch is called Hebrews to Negroes. If you want to talk about mind blown, it's a 3-hour documentary. It's on Amazon. But in that documentary, it talks about the Portuguese people were taken from Portuguese to Africa. And then when you get into this documentary, it shows they were taken from there to the United States. So you just see, and it talks about how in the Bible where it talks about with Abraham, how his family was going to be scattered all across the earth. Like that is legit. If you go to the Aborigines of Australia, no, they were not whites. No, they were not white skin or fair skin.
They were not at all.
They were black with beautiful hair and
that's why I mentioned
they had frogs.
Good day, Mike.
That's why when HRap asked where would you go if you had the time and the money, I was like the Solomon Islands. Some dark skinned people in the Solomon Islands. I was like, they didn't get that way by accident.
Yeah, man, that is deep.
Madagascar,
right?
Yeah. Shout out to Jungle Brother. He's a podcaster as well. Check out his podcast on Spreaker.com. Thank you for coming through. Simon says that's that's the Mediterranean trade through to Asia. Yeah. Man, there's so many things that I did not know. Like there I think this was a quote from the last episode, I believe. It's not just a matter of knowing it, but what do you do with it after you know it? You continue to do the same things, knowing that it's wrong, knowing that there was blood spilled for what we celebrate and eat around the table for. You know, that kind of stuff makes you really, really have to think. Right. All right, let's go to kind of the next imagery, which was basically it was a slave on the ship. He comes to the deck, and it looks like the captain or whoever the guy was, I'm assuming the whoever, basically was smoking a cigar or something. He just looked at the guy like, you can jump off if you want. You know, we basically, what I got from it is you can jump off if you want. All your brothers and sisters are underneath, and they're not going anywhere. So it basically, the imagery shows him jumping off, and that kind of brought up a point to Killmonger. If you go to Black Panther, when he said the reference where he said, I'd rather die with my ancestors than to stay here as a slave, or something to that point.
Go to jail.
Yeah. But I mean, how many of our ancestors jumped off because they didn't want to be slaves?
Right.
Go ahead, HRap.
Go ahead.
Let me tell you how epic that whole transportation course was. They tracked a school of sharks running through what used to be the passage.
Wow.
I'm talking about 2 weeks ago. It was like 200 or 300 sharks. Like, hey, we used to get it in over here.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
They used to have dog meat over here, man. Delicious. Yes. Chicken flavor.
So well seasoned.
That shows you how powerful and how many people said enough. Like that's what we got to. I don't know if y'all want. I don't mind going back and watching it. It's a 4 or 6 part series called Enslaved. Executive produced by Samuel Jackson. It starts with Samuel Jackson tracing his family back to his actual tribe, right? And then they go so deep, man. It's deeper than Atlantis, man.
Wow.
And it's powerful, but it showed how at one point the Africans said enough of this and took over a ship, and they knew they ain't know how to get back home, so they just they bust out the chains and then they walked the plank on their own,
on their own,
man. We can't get back home, and I ain't going over there because when we hit the shore, it's going down. So,
wow,
to quote the LA rapper Cam, you damned if you don't, and you screwed if you do.
Right.
He said another word. Up. Yeah. I ain't gonna say the word. Up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fill in the blank.
Yeah, what I wrote down during that scene, I wrote down the oceans are littered with the bones of our ancestors.
Yeah,
I can't imagine how many.
Yeah, man. Oh yeah. You know
that imagery which basically
right there,
that
imagery that they had on that scene, man.
Yeah.
After dude that jumped in, so strong.
Because just right there, that was the 1500s. We're not even talking about inmates, landed on the continent. It was just like, how many bodies is littered in this passage? You talking about the Trail of Tears?
And we talking about those that simply jumped. We hadn't talked about those that were thrown overboard due to illnesses, or thrown overboard for no reason whatsoever, or when stuff got if they were in rough waters. If we got to throw cargo overboard, what's your cargo?
Right,
people. Exactly.
Help us.
Appreciate that, Jungle.
And at that moment, you just think about how many lineages are cut off like that. It's like, or I know you took a family, you took a tribe, but what if that was just, one portion of that tribe? Like, you just ended a life cycle right there. Really? It's a lineage you just killed. You just stopped.
Yeah. Simon mentioned this movie, The Gods Must Be Crazy. It was a comedy, as he mentioned, but nonetheless, you can still kind of get a little information off of that, about the Aboriginal, tribes and whatnot in Australia. So yeah, I seen that back in the day. I think Simon is telling his age and he's telling my age, because that movie was, that's when they only had 4 networks.
And they would play that right before Monty Python Life of Brian.
You had to turn the knob and line it up.
Yeah, exactly.
Dark meat.
I say, man, but if you get a chance, man, it might even be on YouTube. through a school of sharks. You know, sharks don't really roll in school.
Check that out.
Yeah.
Also, remember, there's some sharks in that damn ocean that have been there 3,000 years.
That's right, man.
Yeah.
So if it gets scared somewhere, let's go back over where it used to be good.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
go over to where the meat.
Yeah,
was
because you know,
plentiful.
they from an animal instinct standpoint, they remember that sort of thing, right?
Mhm.
It is why you have migrations of certain animals every single year over thousands of miles. You know, yeah, they either going to mate. Because think about it, I'll travel for some good mating, and I'll travel for some good food. That's basically what they traveling for. Right?
So, I think companionship was the word he was looking for.
No, I say, hey, entanglement. Say, let's use that.
Oh man. Ain't no shark 3,000 years old.
Go on out there and test it. How old are you? A little older.
Put your feet in the water.
Yeah.
I think one of the best parts of this, part 2, was the black priest and the white slaves, and then the I guess the other guy was a navigator, kind of taking them around.
Yeah.
And that reverse scenario was like, wow.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What if it was reversed? I mean,
Right.
this was the combination of it being part documentary and part
What does it
movie.
look like now? Mhm.
Yeah, it was just was awesome. But go ahead, whoever wants to touch on that.
Oh man,
first.
that's flat out my favorite scene. You know why? That was pure genius. Because people from other cultures do not understand. They pretend they're dumb. Then they become stupid, right?
Right.
Oh well, you know, I don't understand that. It wasn't me. But he made you look at what it looks like to
Right.
be destroyed in that fashion.
Right.
And then these fake religious men of God, and then they, you can't do that to people. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong.
Right.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
That's so good. Maybe not.
Mhm.
Yeah, man. I'm a bit of, and then at the end of the day, that was capitalism at its best.
Mhm.
You can't treat these people like this. They're human beings. No, you're wrong. And then, hey man, this is about the money.
Mhm.
Wait a
Yeah.
minute.
Right.
You kick them, and that it's about once I'm gonna miss a meal. Because hey, like Rich Pryor said, everything cool until you get the miss meal cramps.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And
Right.
Yeah, and that the one of the quotes I got from the movie said that the happiness of one cannot be built on the pain of others. The happiness of one cannot be built on the pain of others, and it was a very thought-provoking scene. And the guy initially, the priest, thought he had a little power. He was a little feeling himself, and he asked him, "Hey, what's going on here? You know, what's cut this? Like, what are you doing with these children?" And dude looked back like, "Those ain't children.
Yeah.
What you talking about? You know, that's cargo. That's product.
Yeah.
You know, there ain't no kids. You know." And the next, part of that scene, toward the end of that scene, when he's, whipping that kid on the tree, looked like he was a teenager, and he's like, "What now? What did he do?" And the guy who was, showing him around or leading him through the jungle or whatever he was doing, he said, nothing.
Yeah.
He didn't do anything, He just be there,
Yeah, that part. And go ahead, Wilks. I'll go to you, and then I'm gonna add something on if nobody mentioned.
No, I was just kind of just piggybacking off what Dawk was saying. It was just one of those moments where it was like, yeah, it doesn't matter what he did. It's capitalism. It's my money. This is how I'm feeding my village, my people. I ain't worried about them having no feelings or who they are. I'm not worried about that. Just put them in the bow of the ship and get them out of here. Now, where's my fun? Now, where's my money?
Right.
It's just one of those things where it's like I don't have a connection to this. I don't have any relationship in this. I don't have a dog in this fight.
Yeah.
This is just business at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's like what is going to gain me is all that really matters.
Right. And I thought, and Simon, you really hit the nail, because the navigator was also the protagonist in this movie as well, because he shot the native woman at the beginning. So like it was definitely a flipping of the script. I thought that was very well done. But also in that scene where he wrote the letter, it was almost as if he was writing this letter to kind of like he was going to send it, but then he burnt it. Like all those feelings I had is done. I'm following. I'm going this route now. And he was like praying. At first he was praying like help me, and then he was like forget it. I'm already here. I mean, I might as well just engross myself into this.
It's that social media rant that you're about to delete because you don't type the whole paragraph.
Right, exactly.
I don't think it was that. I think it was the equivalent of journaling. You write down the worst things about you so you can get past that guilt, and then you burn it because only you. It's only supposed to be between you and God. So you don't have to know that I do this.
Right
now, I'm fine because I settled it with God. And once I settle with God, this evil, this negativity, this tyranny that I'm raining all over these people, it's cool.
Yeah. Aging myself again, says Simon. And at the end of the day, he yearns for the security of his lady's eyes to justify his non-action or violent action. Simon, I'm sorry about the delay. I know with StreamYard, I think there is a little bit of a delay between maybe when we're talking and when you see it, but we appreciate the comments. We're reading every last one of them, and your input is greatly appreciated. All right, so in that it goes kind of from that scene to talking about Haiti, which was, I believe, from what he was saying, was the first free country.
Yes.
And they talked about Napoleon. I thought this nugget right here was great. Napoleon sent 65,000 to reestablish slavery, but failed, and then he had to sell his U.S. land, which then impeded or sped up the elimination of the native in the lands that they own. But
they don't talk about that Louisiana Purchase. Why?
Yeah. But I thought,
but you know what? That's two lies in one. Well, actually, it's three lies on the first one. As Wilks just said, they don't talk about that in Louisiana Purchase, right? Because just be clear, if they talked about that, they would also have to mention the brother who navigated for Lewis and Clark. They want everybody to believe Lewis and Clark walk you through this. Get down, and these two white boys went from St. Louis all the way to the state of Washington, right? They don't want to tell you about the brother that was with them who actually did the navigate. That's the first lie. The second lie is, yes, Haiti, well, it's an omission, which is a mild form of a lie. The omission is that you never learned about the freedom of Haiti in the United States of America, because guess what? Then you can't indoctrinate our folks into believing Lincoln freed them, because Lincoln, his original plan was to send them back home because he set down $300 per individual who was who was enslaved, because we were not slaves. We're gonna stop saying that. But $300 per enslaved African, so you can go on back home, because, and I quote, well, I do agree that you don't need to be free, but you will never be my equal.
Right.
That's everybody's favorite guy, Abraham Lincoln. And then the second lie is the fact that Napoleon got his destruction in Waterloo. That's a lie.
Right.
His destruction came on this side of the world by people that look like me and you. And in 2002, they reinstituted the tax or the tariff. So that's why Haiti continues to stay poor, because they behind in money. Because listen to this, we kicked y'all ass so bad that y'all owe us money.
Right.
I mean, you kicked my ass so bad, so you owe me money. So now, man, it's just one big lie after another. One more thing, and for people who keep saying Lincoln freed the slaves, no, he didn't. And I'm saying slaves, and that's a word I should stop saying. Lincoln didn't free us. We freed us. 1862, the war starts. They're getting their asses beat. So they institute, 1863, they institute the Emancipation Proclamation. So we just picking up after everybody. And then in 1864, November, you give out guns. And in May, the war over and you won. We saved y'all.
Right.
Yeah.
And to back that up, Napoleon's greatest defeat didn't happen in the mountains of Russia.
Thank you.
That's not where that happened. It's like it took what did they say? It was 2 years when they defeated that army, defeated his troops, and then whooped him so bad he had to sell the French territory, including the Louisiana Purchase. It's like, but they don't want to talk about that. They don't want to go into that. That's why I was saying, like, the school books don't teach you that. You have to go outside of the norms and teach yourself and find those things that are parallel to those stories. Because they'll keep you thinking, oh, well, Louisiana Purchase happened. All right, back to you in the studio.
Mm-hmm.
Like, where's the rest of the story?
Napoleon thought he was big bad. Like, I'm going to send 65 to reestablish slavery. Like, I'm this will do it. And no, they didn't do it.
No.
Well, it's like Stevie Wonder said, what did your mama tell you about lies? She said one white one turns into a black one.
Right.
So they were a little bit of lies.
Yeah.
And Simon, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, it's just so crazy, and I was just thinking about like Nat Turner when he in his uprising,
My cousin.
Yeah, you mentioned that. I think you mentioned that before. I think you mentioned
my cousin.
You did.
Yeah, so it's like I don't know when that may have happened, but I'm thinking if Nat Turner had an uprising, they don't want another Napoleon. They don't want another Haiti. So they have to stop it. It's like it's one of those things where it's like I said last week, you keep oppressing a person so much, they're going to eventually rise up. You're not going to keep me down much longer. Now, I may not be the generation that gets out of this, but another generation is going to come and they're going to rise up and they're going to knock your head off. It's like, it's one of those things where it's just going to happen. You're not going to keep
inevitable.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Now, so what's funny, we keep talking about, or Dave Wilks keeps mentioning, they don't want to mention that. They don't want to cover that. They don't want to whatever, which may be part of the reason why the nation is slow to heal, right? One of the studies that have been out recently is talking about Germany and them as a country and how they can overcome their part in the Holocaust and whatnot, right? And they say this because they don't shy away from the topic. They cover it. They don't try to cover it up, right. And so sometimes, you tie that into self-healing, right? As an individual, and you talk about therapy and think about what therapists say, and they say it's the talking about it part that leads you on the path of healing, right? And that's the problem, is that we're trying to cover it up. And so as a result, it won't heal properly. Sometimes you got to take the Band-Aid off and let some air get to it.
Yes.
For it to heal properly.
And just what Dawk was saying, it's like non-Black people, when you have that conversation about talking and you get to that point of that intersection of that conversation, now you feel like somebody's taking something from you. Nobody's taking anything from you. If anybody took anything, it was your ancestors that took a lot. But what I'm just trying to get you, and I'm not even trying to get you to apologize. I'm not trying to even get you to feel guilty about what happened. I'm just trying to get you to understand and talk about this is what's going on.
What the truth is.
Yeah, this is what the truth is.
I'm not trying to make you give back what you gained on the backs of indigenous and Black people. I'm just trying to let you know this is what is taking place. But you don't want to talk about it because it makes you feel uncomfortable. Well, that's the point of talking. That's the point of getting past it.
You want to talk about uncomfortable? We should be the ones that should be uncomfortable, not you.
And then the sad part about what Wilks just said is this: you don't even want to talk about it. As Wilks said, I ain't asking you for I'm not asking you to bury yourself, but you know what it is?
Right.
Even when wicked and greedy people, aka capitalism,
right,
has a soul. They say it don't have a soul, but people have souls and spirits. Once you admit you've done wrong, even the worst person is compelled to apologize and make it right. And you think if you make it right, I'm gonna destroy you. Man, ain't nobody got time to be hating you.
Right. You got time for that?
Just say, look, my bad, and let's move the hell on. You don't even want to do that. This is sad. This is the truly sad part. Remember we were talking about earlier in the conversation about the whole love thy enemy and the indoctrination that we went through in regards to spirituality, religion, and whatever else you want to delve into. The doctrine that you gave me,
Right.
just follow it. You
Right.
already brainwashed my people with it, so we're not trying to get you because we scared of God because of what you taught us.
I
So
love it.
won't you just say my bad?
Right, because you're scared of your own indoctrination.
Right,
Yeah.
because then you're gonna be forced. Hey, as Mike Irvin used to say, if we even, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's like that video that one of us, I think HRap, maybe you posted in our group chat. And he was like, just give us what you told us you would give us. We're not even asking for extra.
Right.
We're not asking for icing on the cake and some candles and all that. Just give us the cake. That's it.
Anime.
And like Dawk said, he wants the recipe. He ain't worried about the finished product.
Yeah.
Right.
That's right. Yeah. So, HRap said, I'm not trying to bury you. Well, I am. And I'm going to tell you what I mean by that. I'm trying to bury you. Okay. Because I want you to die to self. I'm trying to bury the old you so the new you can come forth, because that old you is corrupt, it is corrupted, and it's not, a computer isn't corrupt because of its own doings. A computer or software or program or whatever the case may be becomes corrupt because of the user, right? Because of the operator. And so, yeah, right. So you are corrupt, and that's no indictment on you that you're corrupt. The indictment is not about you being corrupted. The indictment is about your blindness. The indictment is about your unwillingness to open your eyes. The indictment is about you not being willing to just simply listen.
Right.
As my man HRap says, listening to understand as opposed to listening to respond. That's it. We just stop for a moment, commit to no response, commit to no reaction, and just listen, walk away, and give it some thought.
Right. It goes back to American Skin when that police officer was throwing out everything about being lazy and everything about, they listen to this kind of rap music. Man, that's not even the point. I was like, the point is, it's like we're trying to get you to listen, but you keep coming with these barricades and these deflections and these detours. It's like, because you worried that if we get to the core of the situation, at the end of the day, you're going to have to face yourself. It's just simple as that.
And you would, and like HRap was saying, you would be forced to say we're even.
Right.
You don't want to say that.
Inner me.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
Teddy P said it best. You can't hide from yourself. Everywhere you go, there you are.
Yeah. Simon said the rules apply to you, not me, my mama. Right. That's apparent. That is one of them comments. Do as I say, not as I do. Yeah, we all know that one. Continue to open your eyes. That's it, Simon. Open your eyes to what people are telling you, and be able to receive it. He also mentioned something earlier. Well, it's not just about Napoleon, it's about the emergence of the negative use of the word Negro, which they did go into that as well. Yeah. This doc was so on point. And all of our eyes need to be open. If we honest, our eyes is in Black people and the eyes of other races as well.
You know what? Just say you were right the first time, man. All of our eyes. That's to me, that's the trick. To stop saying human. We all look, everybody, tribalism is part of the universe. Everybody got a tribe. Lions got tribes, tigers got tribes.
It's just DNA
got tribes. It don't make a difference. We all have tribalism, but this all you have to do is look at nature. If lions had a way to eat without destroying gazelle, they would.
Wow.
They don't. When they're not hungry, they walk past each other all the time. If an alligator ain't hungry, he'll just sit there.
I'm not going to trust cannibalism.
Nature, anytime you want to find out what the get down truly needs to be, watch the Animal Channel, man. Right. You can see a pack of stray dogs. You can see pit bulls and German shepherds. They all together. Now, it's one pack leader, but they all together. It's the basic premise. Nature shows you how to treat people.
Wow.
You see a herd of gorillas, you see a herd of elephants, you see monkeys, you see everything coexisting.
Right.
Until now. The difference in them and us, animals eat other animals at times to survive. We have the cognizant method of determining if Wilks is a good guy, if Dawk is a good guy, if Ben is a good guy. I remember when I first started reading the Bible back in 2007, right? And I said, and this is what I said, you know, y'all know me, I'm silly. Everybody who watches the show knows I'm the silliest guy on the show. Maybe Dawk, me and Dawk. One of us the Intercontinental Champion, and the other one's the heavyweight. but I approached this brother who had put me on game, and I said, my man, you ever thought about this? I said, naturally, we're vegetarian, right? He said, okay. I said, have you ever thought about that Tower of Babel story? Could have been when we lost our ability to communicate with animals as well. I said, God got dominion, man got dominion over the earth. I said, so could we have lost our ability to communicate with animals? Because see, in America, we don't eat dogs and cats because we have relationships with them.
Right.
But if you had a relationship with Bessie the cow, or Thomas the pig, or Elma the, you know, Dorothy the chicken,
right,
you're not gonna eat that.
Right.
Right.
So that shows you that relation. Go back to me. And I even had this relationship conversation. What, Saturday?
Yes,
Friday.
sir.
We had the Friday.
Right.
Relationships determine how you treat people. The better you are aware of the idiosyncrasies of everybody else,
Right.
you will be able to coexist.
Right.
If anybody disagrees, guess what you do? You got a 3-year-old child in your family. Go call all the Asians, all the Europeans, all the South Americans, all the North Americans, all the Africans, and everybody put a bunch of kids in a room, and nobody knows. Those kids don't know that you're even different than me. I remember leaving the doctor's office with my son BJ. He played with this little boy in the doctor. They probably infected each other, but they rolled around and played the whole time we were at the doctor's office. We left. I say, tell him about BJ. What's his name? He's like, I don't know. And then the boys spoke. I also knew he didn't even speak English. And they had been playing for an hour.
Oh, wow.
So if you want to know, look at the kids and the animals, and you'll be all right. I'm done.
Yeah, look for this quote in this part 2 of the documentary said we should be looking for the we instead of the I.
Yeah. And Simon kind of touched on that. He said that's why my Twitter photo is 3 different colored Labrador retrievers. I breed and raise labs. They all look different, and these animals have no prejudice. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Just because my fur looks different from yours.
Yeah. Raider Kev, the biggest fear they have is our revenge if we knew the truth, because they know if the roles were reversed, their revenge would be total destruction, which is what, and we're not even talking about revenge. That's just the approach. The approach is total destruction. It's not that somebody's even did anything to them. It's them coming and saying, I'm going to destroy everything and I'm going to rebuild it better in their eyes. But it's not better because it's tainted.
Right.
It will never be better.
Wow.
It just seems like everything that, looking at it from what I'm gathering from this document or this docu-series, even in this episode, I feel as if they've twisted the word of God to their dealing, and they've added fear to what they don't want to try to understand. They want to immediately attack something that is not of, I guess you could say, something that's not of them or derivative of them. It's like, oh, you're running around here in loincloths and you got spears, and or you're on a coastal island. Why do you have all these wonderful trees and crops to yourself? It's like, I want all of this, but instead of just asking me how to gain this, how I can share this, you immediately want to pretty much wipe me out from the face of the earth. Again, you want to reframe history. You want to reshape it. Oh, these people never existed. Oh, these people attacked us. They were savages. We had to put them in our place. We had to put them in their places. I mean, they would have wiped us out. They would have come from my family.
Yeah. And great comment, Raider Kev. We don't want total destruction. We simply want to be left alone and allowed to grow. They cannot understand that concept.
Right.
And Simon said, I'm here trying to understand, trying to explain it to others like me. I have hope. You do. You do.
That's good, Simon.
Blessed are the poor in spirit, for
There you
theirs.
go. There you go.
For theirs is the kingdom.
We're an hour and 10 in. There you go.
Y'all got it. Blessed are the meek, but they shall inherit.
He's talking about them beatitudes right there.
Right.
The first will be last, the last will be first.
Yeah.
Right.
Beatitudes.
That's the thing that eats me alive. If you really want this damn thing called the world to work right, why don't you just live the BS that you tell me I should live like?
Right.
Oh man, I love it. We gotta do away with this abortion. Go adopt a damn kid. Shut the hell up and adopt one of these living kids.
It doesn't affect them until it's personal, so they don't care.
Right.
It doesn't matter until it's time to vote. I don't see you advocating. I don't see you doing any of that.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, get off your high horse for a minute. It's okay. We ain't trying to take nothing from you.
Right. Let's go to this, which I love how he would put a topic and then he would list all of the types of that. So case of genocide, massacre, sterilization, mutilation, destruction of cultural symbols, deportation, starvation, forceful conversion, Christianity, separation of families, and slavery. Like all of those have happened for a long period of time, and some of these are still happening today. So this isn't something, this is old. No, it's not old.
Right.
Anybody want to touch on those?
Yeah, we're still living that separation of families jumped off the page at me, you know, and because obviously we are still suffering the effects of that now, and it's being cussed and discussed a lot of different places, and that may be the one thing that's shutting this whole thing down, man. That may be the one that's causing the issue to go with very little to no progress. Is the shutting down of those families, of our families.
Yeah.
Man, I'm cussing Joe Biden out tomorrow on my show about it. The Secret Service might bust in my house tomorrow for real, because he lied to America, man, and I'm exposed it tomorrow. And everybody was up in arms when they had the brothers and sisters from Mexico, or the Central American brothers and sisters in those cages down there. They picked up all the black immigrants, threw their ass in the same place.
Yeah.
Bunch of brothers from Africa,
doing the ice
right now.
Yeah.
Every immigrant that came in was basically treated the same way.
Yes.
Right. So shut the hell up, Joe Biden. I wouldn't vote for your ass to be dog catcher next time.
So Wilks, you touched on the Irish, which you got into that, and it said they served as slave patrols. Did not know that.
Right.
And the Irish, they believe that they're chosen by God.
Right. It's that. Well, once again, it's that crusade. It goes back to the church. It goes back to that belief. They've twisted it for them to work for themselves. It's like you got pushed out of your own territory, your own country, to go across the water to land on another continent and think, we'll just take this over. We'll just run this part of the country. My family was this third Irish, was first Irish, and all this. You're killing me with this. You're killing me with this. Like, you just got here. What you talking about? Like, you just showed up to the party. Like, what are you talking about? The weenie roast been going. I was like, you late. It's one of those things where it's just like, you want to get up in New York and New Jersey and Boston, and you want to run your mouth, and we brought this with us. We did this. Then you have the nerve to join the slave patrol after you just been ran out, treated like subhumans, and you come over here acting like you're the best thing that ever happened.
Yeah.
I don't get it. It's one of those things where it's like you would think you would come over and at least try to establish something that will bridge a gap, something that would probably prosper. But yet, no, for you to be accepted, you've given into the very machine that you ran from.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's amazing. It was mind blowing when I saw it. It's just wow.
That was one of the most pitiful situations I've seen in my life. Who the hell said you take my land,
right?
And then you ship me over here, and then you tell me I come from monkeys,
right?
And then you go somewhere else and treat other people the way you would treat. But again, I guess it goes back to what psychologists say: hurt people hurt people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
They love that toxicity.
Yeah. Shout out to this is her nickname. I know who she is. Denise Milk and Cookies is her nickname. It's Sonia.
Okay.
Let's get to this comment from Simon. He said, "I'm Irish German. The Irish are the most feudal of people. They hate the English. They hate the North Irish. They hate people from Cork, Kilkenny. Very tribal people. Don't drink too much whiskey." They did that because they knew that they could get away with it. Yeah, I mean, a lot of this that we're discussing is because they knew they can get away with it. A lot of it. If you are the low man on the totem pole and you have the opportunity to rise up in the social caste systems of society, would you take the opportunity?
No. I ain't hurt nobody for nothing, man.
Right.
Like right now, propaganda wise, we're the low man on total pole. I don't need to hurt you to get what I get.
Right.
Like
I don't need to give up myself. I don't need. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Wilks.
No. I was just saying.
I'd rather being poor ain't that damn bad, man. I mean, it's this dude named 46. He's a real cool hustler guy I grew up around, and he always had money. He was a gambler. I mean, 46. I seen 46 win $10,000 in the neighborhood crap game. So he always had money, and he'll take somebody's money, and he would say it in a real slick way, and he didn't mean it disrespectfully. Dudes be sitting there. He done took $8 grand from this guy. Oh man, 46 just turned to you and say, "Man, cheer up, man. Ain't nothing wrong with being broke. You just can't buy what you want to buy."
Right. You get it on the next
and
try.
You laughing at that, but then you think about it, man. I don't know about y'all, man. When my mom was in college, I lived in the projects. Some of those guys still my friends. 46 years later. Ironically, 46. I mean, some of the best times of my life is when I didn't have a quarter.
Right.
I don't know nobody, not one person. And watch this. I know guys who played in the National Football League and the NBA, and they just didn't show up and get a check once or twice. They were there. And I know some dudes who were broke as a joke. I had more fun with the broke guy than the rich guy. I got a picture. I can send it to y'all right now with me and Gilbert Arenas. Gilbert Arenas spent $50,000 that night. It was cool to hang out with Gilbert Arenas, but I had more fun with Steve Friday. And we ain't spent a quarter. Me and Steve bought a bottle of whiskey. Period.
Yeah. Now I'll say this to answer that question. It depends on the opportunity for me. That's how I would answer it. It depends on what opportunity it is. If it's having to take from somebody else, then to me, just on my conscience, I just couldn't do it. I can't handle it because that's something that I would have to live with.
Well, I think that's why that question is set up like that. It's the Pandora box. You're gonna get whatever you're gonna get once you open that question. Whatever that opportunity is, opportunist is whatever falls in your lap and what comes that way and how you got to it and how you gained it. But I think everybody has different views of that, different approaches to that.
Anybody else want to touch on that?
Mm-hmm.
No, we know Dawk wouldn't do it. Dawk probably had a chance to make a fake $1 million a couple months ago.
Yeah, you're right.
And he said no. So man, that's why we all agreed that Smith on TV is not the greatest person in the world. Right?
Right.
That's one day I had already not liked him. I had actually, what y'all don't know is me and Stephen A. had a couple real arguments. We had a face-to-face argument and a Twitter argument. And I didn't like him already, but he made this one statement maybe about 4 years ago. He still says it. I'm a capitalist. Jackass capitalist is why your stupid ass is over here. Capitalism.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you say that and you come from an impoverished background, I was broke, and now you into capitalism. So basically, you didn't learn nothing from being disenfranchised.
Right.
What a jerk. I'm sorry.
That's a whole episode. We can go 2 hours on.
Right.
Yeah.
On Stephen A. Simon said, respect. I've met so many black folk who have answered the same way. And that's when I realized that you all have a better character than my people. You're resilient and persistent. That's true. Now, I don't know if we're better than your people because I can't necessarily answer that. But I think we are resilient and persistent because we've had to be.
Yeah, I think because what has happened in the lineage, I think it's woven into the instinct. It's woven into the DNA. And as HRap would say, it's our ancestors continually speaking. They're continuing to stir things up and place us in moments where, like you've said before, it's like we have the ability to flip things and make things work to our advantage because we had to. Just going back to being the lowest on the totem pole. My grandmother and my mom and my grandfather growing up, I never realized I was without. Because there was always something there that said, man, I go back right now. I had some of the best moments growing up eating that ham steak in that skillet.
Man.
Eating that high top biscuits and get a little of that homemade jelly.
He said high time, bro.
It's been many days, man. I tell my wife, I was like, man, those are the best moments. Got my little Nintendo Game Boy. I got one little game. I think I'm hitting it big. But they didn't raise you to have that mentality of, we poor. We just piss poor. But no, they had their faith in God. They had their personal faith. They had their relationship. They worked. They saved. They were not afraid of the word balance. And it was one of those things where they had a budget, and we just lived life. We just appreciated life. Yeah. We went outside and fell out of trees and played hide and seek and all. They didn't raise us with that mentality of, well, you're poor. You didn't come from nowhere. No, they say you can achieve it. You can go get it.
You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, those some great moments.
Oh, man, that's fun. Again, I even talked about this Friday. It's full circle. You ain't lived until you went to a party where everybody bought a pot.
Right. Come on, man. And that street light turned green. Come on, man.
Man, you ain't lived in real life.
Come on, man. Outside.
And man, shout out to my mother. Rest her soul. Bruh, I used to think my mom was just stern and mean.
Right.
But my mother, when she couldn't afford it, she just would say, hey, Mom, can I have this? No.
Exactly.
Now I'm looking back going, we couldn't afford that.
Right.
And if we could, she go, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's how my mom was. Hey, Mom, new Mario just came out. Can we go get it? Nope. Okay.
Yeah, no explanation required.
Right.
back
Going
then.
back to my Hot Wheels. Mind my business.
Yeah.
It wasn't no why. Why
Miss
not?
Sonia, to you, brought up a good point talking about them good old days. She goes, we was eating food that just had what was in the can. So basically, if you got chicken, that's all they said on the can was just chicken. You know, your washing powder just said detergent on it.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah. Come on, man.
Like Malcolm X said, he thought not for sale was a brand.
Hey.
Simon, there's something pure and honest about the struggle. You rely on family and you have those memories and those experiences.
Yeah,
That's
it's
true.
the best times ever.
That's true.
Man.
I miss those potluck parties. Yep.
Oh yeah.
Tell you, man. You have not lived until you went to a party where everybody bought a pot.
Yes, that's what I'm telling you, man.
And somehow you ever watch this, y'all. You ever had a nasty meal from one of those places?
Nah.
Well, it was okay. It was
Yeah, really.
You wasn't getting that at the house anyway.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. You about so full, you about to pass out.
Yeah. Man, that's good times, man.
Yeah.
And shout out to my alumni association, West House Warriors, Chicago West House Warriors. Every year before this pandemic, we had a annual alumni cookout. And bruh, people from the 60s, 70s, and 80s, 90s, 2000s, if you walking through, they don't even need to know your name. They'll be like, hey, you don't have a plate.
Yeah.
And this is 2019.
Yeah.
This one brother, I ain't gonna say his name because what I'm about to say is illegal. He walked around and put a gallon of moonshine on every table.
Wow.
Wow. A gallon.
That's a good time, man.
Gallon.
Whew. That's right.
Those parties be lit. But everybody wanted to know who made the potato salad.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. All right. So as we're talking about part 2 of Exterminate All The Brutes, it brought to another part which kind of leads to exterminating, as we're using that word, of the Indian tribes. But the case of Andrew Jackson, man, bought his first slave at 21, became president in 1829, and then he introduced the Indian Removal Act. But this guy's main focus and plan was to, we talking about the word exterminate, which is in the title of this, exterminate the Indians.
Here's the interesting thing about this. Then you got a joker in there by the name of William T. Sherman, who is saying, we don't need to have any kind of agreement with these Indian people. Let's just get them out of there. Here's the interesting thing about this man's middle name. He's named after a Native American, Tecumseh. William Tecumseh Sherman. How does that even make any sense?
It doesn't.
Like, you mean to tell me you're ready to kick the natives out of their land, out of their territory, and you rocking one of their middle name is Tecumseh? Really? Come on, man. Like, what sense is this even making? You know what you sound like right now? Like, did you not want that to get out? And then come to find out later on that William T. Tecumseh, he had a change of heart all of a sudden. Yeah, let's give these 40,000, let's give these free slaves 40,000, 40 acres and a mule. Like, really? Come on, man. Just like, stop. So now, once again, let's go name a church after him. Let's go name a highway after him because he had a change of heart. Like, but you was trying to get rid of the Indians.
Right. You did. You wasn't trying. He did.
He did it.
Yeah, he did. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah, I made a note watching it. I said Andrew Jackson, the 7th president of the United States, was a thug.
Right.
Period.
Yep. We talk about thug, and we love to throw that in there. We love to throw that word.
That's what a thug is right there.
Yeah.
Period. And I'm going to rank my way up and get elected.
Yeah, really. Really. F. Andrew Jackson.
Yeah, man. I mean, and you know the irony in that? we never heard one word about Andrew Jackson growing up.
Right.
Yeah, I haven't. Even when you look back on school,
And these
that was not one of the presidents.
And we have portraits of these people in the White House.
Yeah, it was. They might have talked to Andrew Jackson about Andrew Jackson for a minute or two on one day, if that.
Right.
If that.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Ray Kev mentioned earlier, it's in the DNA. I'm convinced.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We definitely genetically predisposed to this.
The brand was yellow.
I think she was talking about an earlier comment.
Okay. Oh, maybe he's talking about the cans and the where it just said detergent. Yeah. School didn't focus on Andrew Jackson. You're right. I do not remember that. I do not.
I mean, we had a school. I think we had a school around Dallas, but that was about it.
They just changed the dude. It was in a black neighborhood in Atlanta, Georgia, Chocolate City. Forest Elementary School. The dude from Forrest Gump, the Klan wizard. They just changed his name.
Oh my goodness! Wow. Oh, we better get that changed.
Yeah. Labrador Matador looks like he jumped back over to Twitter. I don't know if it's not no delay there. He said, and y'all should run for office. Alderman, city clerk, treasurer, senator, rep. We need better reps across all government. That's true. We do.
Then you wouldn't have people like that jackass Kennedy in Louisiana, John Kennedy.
Right.
Yeah.
Talking crazy.
Most disgraceful. Did y'all see what he did with Sister Stacey Abrams?
No, I didn't get a chance. I saw the article, but I didn't get a chance to read it.
Man, somebody should have jumped up out of the ground and punched him in the face. He is living proof of people that want you to overreact. They antagonize you until you react, and then they try to
see. I told you. That's the next comment.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
But that Andrew Jackson, that was a great lesson. Everybody needs to watch this. This needs to be shown in every school in America.
Yeah. Now you're telling jokes, right? The likelihood.
Eyes on the
it's not gonna happen.
The likelihood,
right?
You kidding?
Stacey filleted him.
Yeah,
if I got half the story of the Louisiana Purchase, you think they're gonna talk about this?
No.
No.
That's man. I may need to. We all know a teacher. We may need to slide them this DVD or see if they can convert it to VHS. So that's all they got. That's all they got in the schools, anyways. That TV they roll around.
You're gonna need to be sliding them a few $100s because they're gonna be out of a job too.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So 1830, the Indian Removal Act, and then it talks about genocidists, responsibility, intent, motivation, feelings of guilt, and demoralization. I thought that was I love the list and how they listed these. So we talked about this a little bit the last episode, but the treaties with the Indian tribes, it was 86 of them with 26 nations from 1784 to 1868, and every last one of them was violated one after.
No, it was if you watch it closely, they run the tickler down.
Right.
Yeah.
The last number I saw was 360.
370 is what I was gonna say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. He said 86, and then the list was longer. So I was. Yeah.
It may have been some specific about those.
Yeah. Remember those treaties we wrote? Yeah, that was just to pacify you.
Yeah.
Oh, y'all favorite president just canceled one last week for sovereignty, land sovereignty. Last year. With that Alaska pipeline.
I don't know. I've never heard of it.
And that's funny. Everybody always say he was the worst president in the world. I'm like, man, you got at least 14 presidents that own people.
Come on.
Right.
Come on, man. Stop. You had one that was reluctant to free the slaves. or
Yeah.
the black people.
He gets credit for it though.
Right.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Stop the
So,
joke.
so that leads to the Trail of Tears. The forced displacements of approximately 100,000 Native Americans between 1830 and 1850. I mean that. I heard of it, but you know the way it was really broken down and explained really helps you to see that the natives were just treated like this was theirs.
Yeah.
It's native because it was their native land.
Did I just see something today, or I don't know if anybody caught this? Maybe it's been a while, but Colorado, I believe, just did a representation of, giving back the like some bison to a territory or a tribe land. I saw, like, now you want to do it? Like what? Like,
Yeah.
I saw something today. I don't know how many they gave back, but something they were supposed to be doing some.
Yeah, let me look it up and see. Denver donates bison to tribal nations to return animals to historical habitats. 14 American bison.
You're saying how it's only 22 of them left.
After the million that they slaughtered. Gotcha.
Right, exactly.
Copy that.
So,
you talk about that Trail of Tears. One of the notes I took down was the doctrine of discovery. Now, understand, when I typed it in, spell check, autocorrect changed it to the doctrine of discovery. And I thought, what a Freudian thing to happen. You know, it's the doctrine of discovery, but it is also the doctoring of discovery. Right. Mm-hmm. You know.
Tell them what that was, Ivan. Let everybody know what that is. That's this. When you hear this, y'all gonna fall out y'all chair.
Go get on them. Get on them.
Do you know the doctrine of discovery is literally? I walk into Ivan's backyard and say, "Ain't nobody in the backyard. It's mine."
Nah.
Yeah. Well, it's just like it goes back to what I just said when they landed on that beach.
Yeah,
it was about to kneel and pray to England,
and they called it the doctrine of discovery because it was endorsed by the church.
Back to the church again.
Because I've taken it and I've twisted it to my liking.
This son say, "What the fuck? They supposed to be with bison now?"
It's like, good Lord.
And historical narrative is a particular bundle of silences.
Wow.
It's an exercise of power that makes some narratives possible. It silences others. It's a fabricated narrative. Not all silences are equal. That was commented.
You mentioned that in the series.
Yep. Right. They talked about deconstructing silence. There is meaning to silence. It is golden after all. So what does it mean? Your silence is deafening. That's the note to that I listed. You know, this about deconstructing silence.
Yep. Yeah. Raoul Peck, man. This is a masterpiece. There's some things that you say, "Oh, that was good," or "Oh, I got something out of that." There is meat in every single scene. There's not one scene where you say, "Oh, I didn't get anything from that."
Yeah,
you get something from every single scene. Because was hard. This was hard work to put this.
We didn't even touch on the flag part of that series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying. I mean, it's just one of those things where it's like, when you look at stuff like that, and once again, because man has tainted things and made things like, "Oh, this is what it stands for. This is it. Nothing shall come against this." It's like, well, why are you so wrapped up in that? What are you hiding behind? What are you trying to cover yourself in?
Right.
You know, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, nobody mandated this but you.
Yeah. Yeah, the imagery surrounding the flag in this whole documentary has been very interesting, to say the least.
Right.
To say the least.
It's that moment where he's cleaning the flag, he puts it on the rock,
right?
And then there's the people marching.
Dry.
Right.
Yeah, and the people
Like
marching.
it doesn't have innocent bloodshed on that flag.
Right. Oh, they showed that. That's why it needed to dry, because he rinsed the blood out of it.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, he rinsed the blood out of the flag. Washed it.
It's period
on the rock to dry, then put it back on his pole when he rode out. He one dude, but I'm riding with this flag.
Right.
No matter where I go, this will represent us.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
Even though that flag, the red stripes have the nerve to represent all the bloodshed.
Yeah.
Okay.
You jump into episode 4 right now. I know, Simon. We got a tendency to do that. But we could get to episode 3 next week. But this is something I just thought about. We're reviewing these movies at the end of the year or whatever date we decide. We need to do a Fourcast awards or something to best actor, best
movie. Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Yeah.
HRap dating Regina King. I mean, I'm at my phone.
Wow.
Oh, okay. So let's bring it to your segment, Ivan. What was the lady of the doc?
Man, you didn't ask me that in episode 1, but
surprise.
Yeah, well, no, that's my lady of the doc thus far, is the lady in the opening scene that got shot in the head whenever that's the one. I'm like, no, not her. Yeah. Not Pocahontas. Not her.
Anything.
Yeah, I dropped down to both knees off the couch on that one. Right. And banged the coffee table. Let her make it, partner.
Oh, man.
Somebody jump in front of that bullet.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, man.
But the natives have become modern now. Why would the West be rewild? Makes no sense. Oh, that was to a comment where he said they're rewilding the West, but God forbid they rehome Native Americans to their homeland. Free the bison.
Right.
It is again, this documentary has been powerful on so many levels. And yeah, we'll get to part 3 tomorrow. Not tomorrow, next week.
Man, you need to run that Procter & Gamble commercial.
I know. Did y'all see that Procter & Gamble commercial from yesterday? All right. Talk amongst yourselves. I don't have it yet.
During the Oscars or something? Well,
yeah.
All I saw that I'm disappointed with was Halle Berry hair. And I told everybody on my Facebook timeline, if anybody say something about her hair, I'm going to get angry. We all saw it. Ain't no need to talk about it.
Right.
Let me check out her hair, man. I've never watched the Oscars.
Yeah, you ain't missing.
You didn't miss none this year.
You ain't missing.
I think great last year.
The one thing that we do, that all y'all do need to look up is Lakeith Stanfield onesie with the collar. I'm gonna try to find that photo too.
My man had the Bobby Womack.
Hey, Dawk. I ain't gonna say nothing, but I ain't gonna say nothing.
I ain't gonna say nothing.
Right.
All right. So, any last thoughts on part 2?
Oh my God, this onesie, man! Oh my, you got me.
I thought he got the Bobby Womack going.
Look like he need to be an Earth, Wind, and Fire, like a function or somebody. Wow.
Man.
Wow.
Man, on what's happening and what's happening now.
Yeah.
He look like
got the rerun,
man.
Yeah, Lakeith went out there on that one.
Look like Willie Dynamite.
Without that. Oh man.
Hey, but you know what? Lakeith get the last laugh. All that jibber jabber Charlemagne was talking. Saying he was a loser, saying that he was a sellout. That's why he played that role so well. Hey.
Wow.
Charlemagne always talking.
Yeah.
That's Stephen A. little brother. He's Stephen B.
Stephen B.
Don't disrespect Stevie B like that, because Stevie B was bad.
No, I say he's Stephen B.
I know.
For your viewing pleasure here.
Wow, man.
Why, hey, what? Okay, why are you holding his hands like that? Like what?
You gotta stand like that with that on.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you gotta look like you just.
Oh, and looking at it, I'm not paying attention. He got his nails painted black too.
Yeah, I saw that.
And he got blonde hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had to rock that. Got the 70s going on. He finna whoop somebody's kid.
Wow.
You better take that bet out. Stay right there so I can whoop your like pops.
You wanna whoop somebody's kid. You gotta knock over his crown.
I have so many questions.
That's that dude that come over your house that mistreat you and your mom ain't looking.
Yeah.
Put his Ike suit on.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
All right. That
Go ahead
video.
and do Holly. Go ahead and put Holly out there to piss off dog.
No. Don't do that, man.
Don't do it, man.
Let him make it.
I didn't see it, so hold on. Yeah, good. All right. So the video, the Procter and Gamble. Oh Lord.
Hey, man,
Wow.
I got 4 words for Holly Bear. You look a mess.
Yeah.
Oh man.
All I can remember is her line from Monsters Ball. Make me feel good. Okay.
Oh man.
All right, that Procter and Gamble commercial, man. That commercial, yeah, that kind of
You can't play it.
I'm pulling it up now. It was downloading.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it when I saw it.
Yeah, probably like I was saying earlier today when Wilks told me about it. They're trying to get you to buy that soap, deodorant, toothpaste. All right, so here we go. It's uploading. Powerful commercial though, but I like the touching commercials, but obviously it's for you to buy Procter and Gamble products. It's not just to say let's make a good commercial. Otherwise, you wouldn't put Procter and Gamble at the end.
And it shouldn't take a corporation as big as they are to do something like this.
Yeah. All right, it's loading. Come on.
I hate that about this app.
Take a minute to when you live and you upload something.
Because I got some stuff loaded for tomorrow already, niggas.
All right, here we go.
Wow.
I got something in my eye, man.
Wow.
Come on, Procter and Gamble. I'm about to go to Costco right now and get the largest thing of toothpaste off the shelf.
Wow.
Give me some cream.
I was not expecting it. I was going to turn the TV off, and I was like, let me see what's going on with this commercial. And I was like, wow. I was like, did not expect that.
And the dude in the car looked like Morris Chestnut from Boys in the Hood, minus the dreads.
Wow.
And that young punk don't know what a Grand National is.
Yeah.
Nobody needs that Grand National sitting out in front of their house.
Yeah, man. They had to put the Monte Carlo in there first.
Yeah, P&G came through with that one. They did.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that one.
Me either. Nah, but that's what we're in right now is the commercials that pull on the heartstrings. You know, they had a commercial with I don't even remember who it was. It was touching, and then it was like dog food or something. I was like, what dog food got to do with? I mean, trying to.
Black people got pit bull. You can get them about his dog food.
Nice regarding Procter and Gamble, definitely.
That was nice. I wasn't expecting that one.
All right, well, that brings us to the end of tonight's episode. We'll be reviewing part 3 next week. And Raider Kev with this comment here is so true. I'm still wrapping my head around this documentary actually being made, and then that's a miracle in itself. Yeah, and one thing, somebody commented on the last video, how can Raoul Peck or this movie needs to have their own YouTube and their own social media. And if you try to look up Raoul Peck, he has nothing out there. There's a website for his film company, but there's nothing. He doesn't have any social media, anything on his own. And I think it's for that reason. He doesn't want to be like tied to having to put the stuff out there, because if he did, it could possibly be shut down. But I believe it's his film company, so he can make whatever he wants.
Yeah, Raoul Peck is the man. He made I'm Not Your Negro last year. I think he played a role in this new documentary about Martin Luther King, the FBI versus King.
All right, well, we appreciate everybody for tuning in. Jungle Brother, thank you for tuning in. Miss Sonia, thank you for tuning in. I enjoyed the show as well. We'll be back next week. So, Wilks, anything you want to leave us with before we get out of here?
No, I mean, I know we're going to go into part 3, and I kind of started some of that, but I'll say that for next week. I don't want to jump the gun just yet. Yeah,
Dawk.
Yeah, I'll use a quote from the part 2 actually, and he said, "Place oneself in the world, not above it."
All right, HRap.
I want to thank everybody for tuning in. We are gonna be back next week, and y'all already know. Shout out to Craig Facts. And if I owe you something, I ain't got it. And if you need it, get it from Dawk.
Peace.
All right,
hit that beat.
Yeah, hit that beat, baby.